Yo, it's your boy Uncle Pruitt. Part 2, let's go, of the Unfltered Podcast. Arik is still here. We said we're going to split this up because we wanted to make sure we give you lot, the audience, exactly what you lot deserve to hear. And that's
top tier
content. Yeah, it is top tier content. It's been a great conversation. A few of the things I wrote down here, one being men's mental health. The reason why I want to touch base with you, because I think you're the only guy that I've brought in here that's gone through therapy, and I apologise to any of the guys that have gone through it. I know first and foremost you definitely have gone through therapy, and I'm also not recording on the other camera, so that's great.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, you know.
100%. This is just one of life's setbacks, you know. We'll get past it.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's recording now, so it's calm. But it's like the other ones, of course, so all good. Now men's mental health being the topic I want to touch base on you with, because you've gone through therapy. Why should men be seeking that professional assistance?
So first things I'm going to say, not everyone needs therapy. Not everyone needs it. But therapy benefits everyone. Yeah. There is no one who will do good, decent time. If you're willing to bring your truths in and commit to therapy, it will benefit everyone. Absolutely everyone. I think men in particular, and I don't think this is I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. Men are not great about talking about their mental health. They're just not. I think there's a lot to do with ego and still parts society pushes on men. Yeah. That doesn't help them in bringing that softer, that more vulnerable side out. Yeah. Which I think is really, really, really necessary for growth. Like, if you go to the gym, you're admitting to yourself, I want to work on myself. I want to work on whether it's for something as simple as just looking good, or part of physio, or whatever. You're admitting there's part of yourself you want to work at. Therapy is exactly the same thing, but it's way harder admitting something that's wrong with your personality or with your mental health than admitting, I want to work on my looks. Yeah. And especially someone with the confidence veering on arrogance that I have in myself, that I have about myself. I have a lot of self-confidence, and I always really have done. Whether it's right or wrong, I always have done. So stepping into therapy, Gemma was a big catalyst in it, a big catalyst from it. Because I learned there were parts of who I was as a person that I didn't like, that I really didn't like, and that were not helping our relationship at all. And like you said, I've had a long-term relationship in the past, and me and Gemma have been 6 years strong, and I adore her. So she was a big catalyst in me taking that step to not only work on ourselves, but for myself, but for the benefit of us. Yeah. And of course, you start off with therapy. I started off with therapy with goals in mind. I wanted to... COVID, we had just come out of a few lockdowns. My social confidence wasn't all great. I was at a job I really didn't like, so I was a bit low down there. And that all resulted in me not feeling happy in myself. Yeah. And of course, that shows most of the ones closest to you, and that was at the time Gemma. So I went in with a goal to sort of build all that up so I could be happier in myself, and that was showing my relationship. And that did come. But eventually, once you've sort of passed those goals, it's something that I use to... I'm trying to find the best way to put it. So me personally, I don't think I've gone through any life-changing trauma. Yeah. I know people who have had way worse childhoods than mine, way worse lives than mine, way worse bad things happening in their life than I've gone through. So I wasn't going into therapy to sort of delve into that. I went in to sort of unwire myself. Yeah. We talk about how your parents raise you, and you talk about the groups you meet at school and at uni and in your work and life, and how that melds you, how it builds you up. When you're just looking at it within your bubble, if you might be perfectly happy with it. And that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But because I was in that flow of therapy, I did start using that time to sort of unwire myself, to challenge myself, to argue with myself, because a lot of the time, you notice when you're in a mood. Yeah. You notice when you've said something that you know you shouldn't have said, when your ego doesn't allow you to apologize for it. Or something that you just don't believe in. When you say something to make a group of people laugh or something like that, you just don't believe in. But after the act, you don't have the time to sit back and analyze it and argue with yourself. And that's headspace to put all cards on the table and think about why you did this, why you went through that. And because I wasn't at therapy to deal with any of these past traumas, I was unwinding myself and almost arguing with myself, building it on myself. And not every time coming to a conclusion to that I was happy with. And a lot of the time, actually, coming to a conclusion that made me think about myself differently. And like anything, I keep bringing back to the metaphor of the gym. The more you practice, the more you go and work on that and analyze and give yourself the time and the space to not just critique yourself, pat yourself on the back when it's necessary, but critique yourself. You're going to build yourself up. And in August, I had been doing therapy for about 2 years. And Priyesh, I cannot tell you the effect it's just had on my ability to sort of, the self-confidence it's given me, but also the ability to sort of shut out negativity around me. And I think that's come, and that's had a huge impact on my mental health. Like a huge impact. I think it's, and I'm not saying it's easy at all, it's one of the most challenging things I've ever done. But to go in there and to just sitting yourself down and saying, I'm bringing my truth today. I'm sat in this space for an hour and I'm bringing all the truth I can bring. And I'm looking at it in a way that I wouldn't look at it at home, that I wouldn't look at it at work with everything, all the other forces around you. This is just you and your thoughts and your emotions. Training with those is, you learn so much about yourself.
It hits different, doesn't it?
Oh my God. It's very personal, but yeah.
Because I feel like, let's look at our relationship. We can have deep conversations. I'm not your therapist.
No.
And so our conversations may go deep and we can get hella emotional, but it's something about your conversations you will have with someone who doesn't know anything about you, who will hold space for you, where you could say things possibly out of line and not feel judged for it in that capacity. Whereas with me, I was like, yo, bro, that was a bit peak.
Yeah.
And it could just change the whole dynamic of the whole conversation. And so, no, I highly get that, because you've gone through therapy. I've never had therapy. I've had NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which included an element of therapy and physics, and I've done coaching. And so it's mad when I've had my coaching sessions to try and work on my business. It's funny how quickly it just changed to my personal life.
Yeah, of course.
And like, I can't express how important it is to obtain personal assistance. I don't like saying you need to get a therapist, you need to get a coach, you need to get a counselor, a PT, whatever. It's like, go get that personal assistance, because people are shy of saying they need help because it makes them feel weak. And I really disagree with that concept, because you're crying out for help when you're in an emergency where your car's probably crashed or something's happened at home. You're calling 999. No second thoughts. But when it comes to yourself, I can't say I'm weak, because if I say I'm weak, what does that look like to everyone else? And that's something, if we can start changing, it takes you to a different place, a bit like what you're in right now. And so why I say personal assistance is because it possibly softens the blow in regards to needing help. What you want right now is someone just to take you from A to B. Your journey is going to be very different to whoever else is doing some form of personal assistance, but it's what's going to work for you.
That's the word. I don't like the word help.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as if they weren't getting whatever it was, the NLP or the therapy or the coaching, then they can't succeed. And I don't believe that's the case at all. I like the idea of working on yourself, the idea of going gym, the idea of training yourself in a way you haven't trained yourself before, the idea of looking at things in a complete... giving yourself the space. There's a lot of shit, like, you're going through your daily life and all these shit and all these forces come and screw you up and put you in moods and change your emotions without you even knowing it's happening. Being able to have that environment where you could just be with your emotions, acknowledge your emotions, analyze them, and then throw them back at yourself and look at them in a completely different way. You don't get that flipping time.
Well, this is why I tell my clients, especially when they come up to me that, I have a problem with this, I have an issue with this. I said, no, you don't. There's nothing that needs to be fixed here.
Yeah.
You don't have a problem, you have a challenge.
There we go.
Change the terminology and it changes your view on it.
Yeah.
There is no problem around why you're single. It's not a case of you're unlovable. The challenge is right now is that maybe you don't love yourself enough to accept the situation as it is. The problem isn't the fact that guys are just messing you around or girls are messing you around. The challenge is accepting what happens in the world. People think that, because a lot of people come to me around dating, and I wish more guys did it as well, because there's such a big cloud around it. They want to get married, etc. Marriage doesn't necessarily mean that people can't separate and go down different routes.
100%.
People still cheat. People still get divorced. So don't just think that that's the be all and end all.
There we go.
And so, when I have a lot of women clients speak to me about like fuckboys and stuff like that, I'm just a bit like, if we ever took a second right now just to take you out of the situation and look at the man right now and the possible challenges they're going through. Maybe that guy has been brought up in a way, which I feel biologically we have, to be a provider, to support, and to just be in control kind of thing. The reason why this guy possibly could be a fuckboy right now and not really in tune in being vulnerable with you is because maybe he's insecure within himself where he can't provide you everything you're looking for right now.
100%, but then...
Now, his way of going about it is that he's just going to fuck around because he can't... The minute he allows himself to go all in, if he knows within himself, yo, I'm not financially successful yet. I'm not earning that salary. I can't pay for that. I can't do any of this stuff. I can't be the guy you want me to be. There's a possibility of why he's going to bug out and do certain things. Maybe he's not mentally ready to settle down.
He's not. And that's fine. There's two parts of it in my head. Like, whatever person X, the fuck boss and the fat boy, he's got to go fucking work on himself and decide when he's ready to settle down and stuff like that.
It will, in due course. But you, as the recipient of this, don't have to accept it. You don't have to go about it. The problem people have is, this is guys and girls, we have this desire to be wanted.
Yeah.
And the minute someone shows us a bit of interest, we go all in.
Okay, so there's a big part, and a big reason I think the reason I love therapy is the idea of self, the idea of protecting yourself, and with social media, this is just going back on. We want to be liked, we want to be accepted, we want to be followed. It's about where people get their fucking validation from, and what they're sharing to get that validation, whether it's I don't know, whatever they do to get likes, whatever likes and follows and shares and all that, and that's validation for some people. And when the likes and shares and follows start depleting, you force yourself to share more and more of yourself. A big part of self, a big part of independence, a big part of individualism is the parts you don't share, are the parts you keep to yourself. And that is what builds you up. The parts that you're able to reject, the parts that you're able to say, no, I don't want that. And also the parts that you just keep to yourself. The reason why therapy helps in those, it's building on self. It's just you and a completely judge-free environment that's allowing you to build yourself. You're not doing it for likes. You're not doing it to make people laugh.
You're doing it for you.
You're doing it for you. You're building yourself for yourself. Like, there's nothing more rewarding, I swear.
And this is why, like, when I speak to these individuals who start to say to me, I'm fed up of dating, I'm fed up of all of this shit, I'm like, no, what you need to realize right now is that you have this desire to be wanted. The minute you take that out of the equation and you no longer require it, you don't require their love because it fills up your cup, you filled yours up already.
I know.
You will start walking into these situations where if the guy just wants to fuck around, you're like, nah, I'm cool. And you're not going to get bothered about it. You're going to move on.
You realise it's their issue, not yours.
It's their journey and this is your journey. Yeah. And you're going to do things that's two different places and you're just not meant to be a part of each other's, and that's fine. Yeah, and the minute you then get yourself well enough equipped, when the right guy turns up or the right girl turns up, you're going to be so much more in a better place because you don't need their love. They could leave. Touch wood, what happens if they die? Then what?
Yeah.
What are you going to do in that situation? But the fact that you love yourself to so much more of a better degree than you ever were, you're in a better place. I can't say I love myself unconditionally all the time, because there are times I do slate myself at times when I'm shit at golf, like, you fucking idiot. But like,
you're slating yourself because you love yourself.
Exactly. But there's that fine balance that I feel like we in this world aren't working towards, and this is why we said men's mental health, and I feel like a lot of men do need to start reaching out and finding it and not seeing it as a weakness. But I think also there possibly needs to be a balance of accepting that men and women might not necessarily be 100% right now because of everything that's going on with the world. Look, COVID took away a number of years of people.
Yeah.
People are healing, grieving. People think they're ready when they're not.
I think we will always underestimate how much COVID fucked people up.
Oh, for sure.
Like, genuinely, we will be dealing with that for years.
I'm always 2 years younger in my eyes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
25 plus back, yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, not 30. We ain't hit 30 yet, no?
In my head.
Plus back.
No, I'm a little younger. But, like, no, respectfully, it did, like, being within those closed doors. I used to love going for a walk whenever I got a chance, you know, and, like, respecting people's boundaries to some degree, not taking things like for advantage, like checking in on people a bit more than you normally would. Like it's mad. Like my uni mates, we used to have like Zoom sessions all the time. I ain't chat to them like that.
No, of course not.
And not to be rude, but it was a case of like it was a thing every Friday we'd just check in, chat a lot of shit.
That's how the world was. The world's not like that anymore. And you're still as tight with your uni boys as
you were,
you know? But
for sure.
you just handle things differently. You just do things differently now, and that's fine.
But yeah, COVID did mess things up.
Yeah.
And mental health is always going to be a topic that people should check in on.
100. Honestly, please, men, women, everyone, please check on your mental self. Please check on yourselves. Honest to God.
Where did you find your therapist?
I was lucky. I found him when I was in Tooting. And it was a place called the Awareness Centre. And like I said, I don't feel I have any huge trauma in my life. So I actually got a trainee therapist at the time. And it was good rates. And he was great. And he was exactly what I needed. It was
That's it.
a computer judge free. He didn't really do too much talking, you know. It was me just chucking my thoughts and arguing myself and going down all these.
Because I've had a few people like slate therapy to me, but like it generally didn't work. And I'm like, you can't go in assuming things are going to work. No. It's a case of what's the purpose you're going there for? Are you trying to air some laundry? Understandably.
Sometimes it is just a venting session. Yeah.
And it's not a case of where like you're going to have someone fix all your problems. What people fail to realize is that like a bit like your physical health, it's all on you. Your mental health is still all on you. So you may pay a therapist, a coach, a counsellor, whatever it is that whoever it is you're working with right now, you have to do the work.
Oh, 100%. And that's the other thing. Therapy isn't for everyone. There's stuff you said, like I've advised my mum to do therapy for a variety of reasons. Didn't work for her. Absolutely fine. She gave it a try. Wasn't for her. Completely understand it. There's other things that people can do to focus on their mental health. Yeah. This is just something that's happened to work for me. But I do please beg people.
I told my sister, go get some coaching.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I feel like when you tell someone very close to you to go and get it, it's more of you see a problem with them. Like,
but especially you, because you're in coaching yourself.
It became a bit weird.
If you told me to do coaching, I'd be pissed off as well.
Exactly. So I then took myself back out of it, and she found her own avenues of speaking to people. Yeah. She had CBT.
Yeah. Cognitive behavior.
Like that was her own journey. So I have to respect the fact that everyone's on their own journey. Hence why when I try and sign not try and sign a client, when I open myself up to speak to a random stranger on Instagram who's DM'd me, or I responded back to a DM and we're talking, I'm like, let me offer you some time just to speak because you may never get this experience before.
Yeah.
I may not be the guy you ever need to work with, but I just need to let you know that there are people out there who will hold space for you. And when the time's right for you to then work on yourself in a way, calm. There might not be anything ever wrong with you. I don't think anything's ever wrong with anyone, but like in terms of like your mental space, it could be just knowing the fact that, yo, shit, Pre gave me an hour and I got to just get very emotional to a random stranger I've never met before. I only see his videos.
Judgment free sort of thing, yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think I can afford working with him. I don't think I need to speak to him every week. But just knowing there are people out there.
And he's taken that first step, you know? Like, that's it. Even inspiring someone to take that first step is huge.
And that's but my sister sings my praises. Like, she's out in New Zealand and she'll send me, "Rah, this pod was mad. Like, I was hella emotional. Yeah. That was so sick." And she used to be one of my biggest haters, and now she's like one of my biggest supporters out there because she's seen something, and she had to go through her own journey to see it. And when it comes to your mental health in general, whatever route you want to possibly dive into, therapy, counseling, coaching, it may not work for you. Yeah. That person might be the wrong person. It could be the wrong setting. 100%. Doing something virtually might not be for you. You might want more face-to-face. You might want it in a group scenario. But being vulnerable to take that first step is so fucking important. And I can't stress the importance of people going out and trying to find someone versus giving up. I hate the fact when I hear people are like, I'm just done with it. And I'm like, you're not. You've got, like, if you try and like do the science behind the chances of you becoming who you are today in terms of the sperm and the egg meeting each other and you growing up to be this person, go through all of the experiences to then consider the fact of this ain't worth it anymore. Why? Why are you punishing yourself and thinking that no one's out there? No, there are people out there.
Yeah.
And it's not about trying a little harder.
Yeah.
It's taking that first step. And I've realized just messaging a random stranger, hey, I saw you voted for this. We're going to make sure it's everything okay because I saw a trend and I just wanted to just check in. Oh, thank you. You know what? I never expected you to do that. Is this like a sell? I'm like, no. I'm genuinely just checking in. It's like, I wish people do that for me when I was younger.
Is that what you do? Your first step before...
Trying to sign someone?
Yeah.
Nah, well, I don't go in with the intention to sign people when I do my polls, but it's always interesting to know what content people relate to. So there's no point me posting shit about football when no one cares about it.
I mean, not if you're trying to be a life coach. Anyway,
but like, if I'm doing things, then I can see a lot of things are more relationship oriented. Fuck what my friends are gonna say because they're all in relationships.
Yeah.
But the audience want to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
So whether it's the content, whether it's the guests I'm gonna bring in, or what conversations I'm gonna have, whether it's the case of like, oh shit, you're feeling negative, relationships, family pressure, etc. You're going through everything my clients are going through right now. If I give you an hour of my time and I just speak to you and just hear you out and possibly call things out, maybe you can start doing the work yourself without having to work with me.
Yeah.
And I wish people did this for me when I was growing up. When I was like 15, 16, thinking that I had to be the dog's bollocks and just being the best available in the household. If someone said to me, it's cool.
Yeah.
It would have changed the game for me massively. I wouldn't have given up on certain things.
But we didn't have those resources, and now we do have them resources. It's up to us to be.
And this is why I do like when I reach out to people. Like, I'm not doing it to take your money. I'm not doing it to like have you work with me. The idea of it is that I want to give you the indication that there are people out there, and not everyone is going to be like, no, I don't want to hear your shit.
Yeah.
People will hold space, and the minute you can start getting vulnerable, this is what I tell all my clients. The minute you get vulnerable with me. You're sending me 10-minute voice notes right now about everything you're going through and you're getting emotional. I'm a stranger. I'm a coach now, but I'm a stranger. I guarantee you, if you could do this with me, there's no doubt you'll be able to have that same level of emotion and intensity with your close loved ones. I've got couples, well, not couples, I've got someone who is in a relationship talking about their partner, and I'm like, I guarantee you, I'll get you to a stage where you can have those conversations with your partner. The reason why you can't right now is because you're so fearful. And you've got so much of this pressure. And it's like, you don't want to say something out of line. And the truth is, you can.
Yeah.
You're doing it to me. You're venting hard right now.
It's about bringing truths. I like what you said about, you think you said something out of line and you can't and stuff like that. I think the work begins when you're ready to bring your truths.
Exactly.
Like every single truth. The good, the bad, the truth, especially the truths you're not used to facing, the truths you probably don't want to face.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you start chucking those on the table and start actually looking at them properly, that's when the work properly begins.
No, it does. And it's the terminology. Like I said, problems, issues. People think that they can and can't do things. They must do things. They should do things. No, you don't. You can. You also cannot.
It's always an option.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Don't feel obliged to do stuff. And like, once we break out of these cultural traditions and upbringings and start putting ourselves first, you can start seeing things so much more differently.
For sure.
It's a mad one. I'm not perfect. I know you're not perfect. We're constantly working on improving ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Yeah, you hear what he said? Closer than you. Look, and you see that cackle of a laugh. Yeah. So what this guy does?
Sorry.
Those little ad libs.
Sorry.
You're not sorry, you dickhead. Fuck's sakes. This is what. See, I'm normally quite chilled. Uncle Bree's quite chilled in here. When I've got you in the studio, fool.
I don't know where that came from.
It was needed. It was needed.
Fez.
It was needed. Moving on from mental health, and the reason I definitely wanted you in the studio today was to talk about relationships. You're not single. You've been in a long-term relationship, but you also was in a long-term relationship during the time I knew you, and then possibly may have added to the failures that you went through with the exams.
Yeah.
You're very different because me and my ex broke up after you and your ex broke up. like a year later or something, and like psychologically it fucked me up because I realized I failed my exams and struggling with X, Y, and Z. You're you're a very unique individual with how you dealt with that stuff. Talk to me about how how you healed through something which was possibly someone you thought you were going to marry at one point in your life.
Yeah. Okay. First off, I wouldn't call it a failure. It was a part of my life.
Not the relationship, the failures in the exams.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You failed exams.
Well, me and my ex broke up 2 weeks before those exams.
Yeah.
2 weeks before I sat. And for those 2 weeks, I did not go to college. I did not do a bit of studying. I didn't do anything. I was fucking sad. Of course I didn't. And then I sat those exams, obviously bombed the lot of them. And wasn't in a great space with all of that. Our relationship was... So we met at uni, 18. And on paper, it was perfect for all parties involved. She was an Indian girl, she was Sikh, she was an accountant. After we graduated, she qualified at KPMG. And she was a good person. She was a good person. We did not work as people in any way, shape or form. But when you're a kid, I'm wondering how deep I want to take this. When you're a kid, so growing up, I don't know about you, but a lot of the older relationships I had in my life, older couples I saw in my life, my parents, my friends' parents, uncles, aunties, none of them lasted. And if they were still together, I know in a lot of ethnic cultures, divorce is terrible. Like the idea of divorce is terrible. So a lot of parents were staying together unhappily. So I didn't really have a clear example of what a loving, happy relationship was. Me and my ex at times we brought out the absolute worst in each other, like genuinely the worst in each other.
I can tell.
And you saw a lot of it came from me and my ego and the defenses I was putting up and this mask I was wearing and all these things I was trying to be in that relationship that weren't working. And we brought out the absolute worst in the other. And the last year we were together 5 years, and the last year we just didn't like each other at all. Like for that whole year we didn't like each other. And at the same time, while this is happening, how old were we then? 22, 23, you know? At the same time, you're still thinking about, oh, well, we've got to move in with each other. And we've got to put a ring on it soon. And her coming from a very traditional Sikh family, there were a lot of pressures coming in. And me, A, not having any of those pressures from my parents. B, not wanting to move in at 23 when I had the blessing of living at my parents' home in London, you know? Not definitely not wanting to get married and start all that stuff. It would always, and any sort of arguments we had would always come back to those topics. Yeah. And it wasn't nice, but because you don't know what love is, and at the time you're thinking, wow, I'm not going to get better. This is what love is. This is a relationship it is. You push through. And men don't like pulling the plug on relationships. Men are more scared than they care to admit about being lonely. So
I'm gonna say it right now, yeah, for sure.
For sure, genuinely, I think that's a big fact. Men are very, very scared.
Especially when you feel like she may be the one.
Because you know no differently.
Yeah.
And when you've been in that sort of thing for 5 years. Yours was 5 years as well, right?
5.5, yeah.
Yeah, 5.5. Like when you've been in things, you've convinced yourself that this has to work. And she pulled the plug on the relationship 2 weeks before my exams. But also before her exams, so I can't be that mad about it. And she passed her exams. I did not. But I'm glad she did, because God knows where I'd be if she hadn't.
Yeah.
And of course, now I wish her all the best. Like, we ended on cordial terms. She's still friends with some of my uni friends, you know. And I wish her all the flipping happiness in life.
How did you heal from it? Because I remember when you went through it, and then when I was going through it, there were things you said to me like, bro, be free.
Be free. But the first part is be fucking sad.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge being sad. Like, the fact that I didn't go to college for those 2 weeks before my exams. I sat there playing FIFA, scrolling on my phone, not moving, not really speaking to anyone. And I was sad, but I needed that.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge the fact you're sad and just sit there and be sad with it, because it is a sad case of events, whether it's whatever you've broken up over. When someone's been part of your life for 5 years and you think that's your support, that's someone who's got your back, that's someone who you can be yourself with. When that person is gone, it's a sad time.
Oh, mate, it's horrible.
It's horrible. So the first thing you got to do is let yourself be sad. Don't try and convince anyone or yourself, especially, that you've got to put on a brave face and go out there and go to gym and get wedge and start going clubbing and start getting on the dating apps and stuff like that. Because that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Deal with those emotions first, because you are going to be in no state to find your next relationship, if that's what you want, until you have dealt with the emotions of the last one. And I think that really helped me a lot. I also did go to...
You had a rebound phase after.
I did go to America with my boys like the week after, which definitely helped.
Yeah.
But I had a great support network around me. Of friends, yourself included. But I think a lot of it comes in your own time.
Yeah.
A lot of, like 90% of it comes in your own time. And the biggest part was letting myself be sad until I wasn't anymore. Or until I dealt with the idea that, again, sounding Disney, it gets easier every day.
And I feel like one thing with your example was how long was it till you then found Gemma?
It was quick.
That's 3-4 months?
It was 4 months. It was quick before we went on our first date, you know?
And if I look at your situation versus mine, I reckon it took me properly 18 months to heal. To fully heal. I was seeing someone for a bit, but fully to be like completely out of my head, like to heal 18 months. And so when I tell people this all the time, I'm like, it all depends on the relationship you were in and the connection you had. And like, you were going to marry this guy. I remember we talked about it, like the nicknames. We're not going to throw them out here right now, but yeah. But like, there was a so much strong connection. The way you healed and the way you powered through it and the way you allowed yourself to be open and vulnerable with Gemma was something I personally couldn't do at that moment in time, because there was a lot more work I had to do to be in a place where I can offer that now in abundance. And the reason why I wanted definitely to get that question out there was because so many people think that they either need to rush the process, get a rebound, have a phase where they just fuck around, or like healing is taking forever. For some people it may do, because your belief systems about yourself right now aren't allowing you truly to move forward and accept things for what they were. Like, I remember you said it, like, there was never a bad word we said about your ex. It was more of a case of, it is what it is, respectfully. Nothing bad to say. Hope her all the best. Wish her all, like, she does, etc. Blah, blah, blah. And you just carried on with your journey. You did what you needed to do in your own accord. And Gemma, out of nowhere, was it meant to be a long-term relationship at the time? Don't know at the thought. But you both connected in a way. And years have gone by. And you've then said to yourself over the years, I need to work on myself even more, because I can't allow that shit to happen again. And you've built on this connection.
100%. The thing is with me and Gemma, I never had the goal. And I think we touched on this briefly before we jumped on this. The idea that people come out of their relationship, their long-term relationship, and straight away think about the next one. Think about jumping on the dating apps or what they have to do to make themselves more desirable for the next person. That wasn't something that ever crossed my mind. Because I was in a relationship from uni, I didn't really know what adult single life was like. And fucking hell, like I said, I met Gemma 4 months after, so maybe I still don't. But it was nice to experience it in that moment. And me and Gemma happened very, very, very naturally. Very naturally.
Exactly.
I wasn't on any dating apps.
Preach that again.
Very naturally.
Thank you.
This is it. Let it happen.
Thank you.
If you come in and approach it with the fact, I need to hit this level, or I need to be in a relationship by I need to be in a relationship by so-and-so, or I need to have a family by so-and-so, or me and blah, blah, blah. It's limitations that you're setting yourself that are never going to help.
So when you say it happened naturally, like, was I for what I know of Gemma, she doesn't really seem to be the person that applies pressure in a way to make you feel a certain kind of way, like these things need to happen. I felt she seems very understanding, very chilled. I don't mean to like
she's a
gas
fucking
her up.
best, man.
Yeah, she's out here saying to you, you're about to be on the internet right now, you're about to say all this stuff, and we're gassing her up right now.
Of course.
Joke, she is.
No, she made me say that. She said I had to say some nice things about her.
No, but respectfully, like, because for some people, might be like, right, in 4 months, my man moved on after a long-term relationship. And I was like, well, he got himself in a headspace where he was willing to get to know this person, and things unfolded naturally. And like you said, everything happened for a reason. You trust the process every day, and you are where you are right now.
It's the biggest part of it is what I've found in my relationship with Gemma is a love and an overall relationship and an overall companionship that I never, ever, ever would have imagined beforehand. Because I didn't know this stuff existed. I hadn't seen it in the relationships I've seen before. I certainly hadn't experienced it in my previous relationship. And of course, I didn't know this was what I was going to get when I first stepped foot into it. But as we've carried on step by step, if we've carried on month by month, year by year, those things, it just clicks, it makes sense. And that's why when you realise you're getting what you actually want, rather than fighting for something you don't even care about, you're willing to put in that work.
That's mad,
You're willing
right?
to fucking step. Ugh.
That is so mad.
I know I'm blessed with it. I really, really do know I'm blessed with it. But and this is why I don't want anyone I know to be settling.
Yeah.
I think people are very, very, very quick to settle. Very quick to go on a dating app. Very quick to think, okay, wife, kids, boom, they're ready for it. Let's go. Let's have the house. Let's do all that. And realise they're bored as fuck and pop out another kid or buy a dog. And then when you run out of things to do, you know, I
agree. I agree because it's like I've been single for, let's say, officially single since that breakup. I was seeing someone in between for a period of time. And like I learnt so much from my ex, and she's moved on with her life, still part of the same uni group, and wish her nothing but the best. But the experiences it's taught me, the healing process, to be the best version of I am right now, to not care about if a girl wants to ghost me or not really want to chat to me, like that took work.
Of course.
If I was in a place right now where I still felt like I'm not good enough, of course I'm gonna attach myself to certain situations and possibly settle for someone because I'm like, I can't even tell her like I'm really not happy with you right now. I've got to just settle with this. And when it all falls apart, you then pick yourself back up from a very, very difficult place. It's not healthy at all, and I feel like people don't get that. Healing is a journey where, yes, you want to like forgive and let go, but you also have to make sure your belief systems aren't in a place where you are questioning your worth.
I know.
And I feel like with you, when I hear your story, and I feel like it's always been with you, despite the traumas, somewhat traumas you may or may not have gone through in childhood, you've always believed in yourself to some degree, and that authenticity comes out. So 4 months in, did you believe you were good enough getting to know Gemma? I guarantee you probably were to some degree. Versus me getting to know someone within 4 months, I'd have been like, yeah, no, I must have done something in the last one for her to leave. So yeah, I don't think I can give you everything you require, and it's unfortunate, blah, 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 etc., etc.
And when you start doubting yourself about that, because your relationship for 5 years, like when you're 25 years old and you've had a 5-year relationship, that is a huge part. You have built up a lot of your self-belief, a lot of your emotional EQ, a lot of everything, like because of that relationship. So when that disappears, when that rug is pulled out from under you, you think, what the flip was I relying on? What do I base so much of myself on? So much of myself that I've grown. What do I do with all that now? And that, of course, starts spiraling and starts hitting you off in other ways and stuff like that. But yeah, it's tough. It really, really is tough. You just don't want people to rush it.
No.
Like you talk about the healing process. Everyone's individual. Everyone's different. Everyone requires work in a completely and utter different way. But the biggest thing is don't fucking rush it.
And this is why, like, I can't settle right now. If I feel, I feel like a bar has been set in regards to personality traits, in regards to appearance, in regards to how warming they are. That's possibly similar to personality, but like generally, there's a number of things that have been set right now. Now, I'm not saying, and people might call me snobbish for it, but it's a case of like, if I feel I'm like, that's unfair on the person I'm going to be with, and it's also unfair on me to be with that person.
So you mean, settling for something that doesn't reach your sort of checklist level?
It's not. I wouldn't call it a checklist. It's more of a case of something that, if I was to ask you, you possibly never feel like when you're with Gemma right now, it's meh. You're never just shrugging your shoulders. It's somewhat a breath of fresh air, someone that you want to grow with, someone that you don't want to ever just be this Arik. You want to be someone better. She constantly pushes you in a way where she's not asking you to do anything. Yeah. But you just want to be better because there's something about her that just pushes you in a direction.
100%. We're going down that same journey together.
Whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, emotionally, whatever it is. I've got the bar set in regards to, I always thought I wanted a best friend and a partner. And I had that at one point. And then I realised there were qualities I got from other people I dated. And even with the girl that I was seeing, that got me thinking, a best friend is one thing, but there's another level above that.
Yeah.
Someone who truly believes in me, someone who truly understands what I'm doing and is a supporter. Now, people can say that, I don't really mean it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big difference. And I talked about it on an episode with Chigna where I was like, my psoriasis and these conditions. For some people, it might be like covering that shit up. Like, people just accepted it.
Yeah.
And like, for me, attracting a certain individual in my life over the number of dates I've been with got me thinking, I have to possibly hide that with a hat when it's a bit bad, etc. Now starting to meet people who accept, it's fine. Like, rah! I need that kind of person in my life because I'm never going to be 100%. And the fact that you are not making me feel guilty or bad or shit for it, I want people like you because I know there are people out there who might be stunning, great personality, etc., but they're going to judge me and make me feel like shit. I don't want that. So that bar has been set right now. So if I feel like I'm not getting a certain degree of things that I feel I'm not settling for, but I'm constantly striving for, that's the kind of person I want to be with.
It's the micro forces, like you say, like the macro forces, the more overlapping stuff are going to be looks, what they do for their job, how many kids they want, all that stuff. The micro stuff, the soft skills, the how they support you, how you support them, like what your chemistry's like together, all these little bits. That's the fucking key.
It's the smaller things that possibly come out of a conversation with that one person that makes you think, raw, where the fuck have you been my entire life? Because, you're a gem.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
And when my face goes like, damn, like I'm flustered right now. Yeah. Calm. I've been single for a long period of time for me to know what kind of individual I'm like, that's nice. Yeah, it's cool. Oh, that's interesting. And someone that's getting me thinking, raw shit.
But that's it. You have, like you said, it's not, I'm not going to say you're fucking playing the field because that's not what it is, but you've experienced enough in your single life that you have these standards that you want to meet, and that's fully fair.
Yeah.
Fully fair. You also know that you are going to meet people that don't match up to that standards, but that's also okay. That's not a good or bad or whatever. It just is. And you can move on from them. They can move on from it. And I think you're more than happy to keep searching until you find someone that ticks those standards, which is how it should be.
It's a case of, I know what possibly would hurt me and like a woman I'm possibly might be with. What would hurt me and what would hurt them is it knowing that I'm not 100% in.
No.
And I think I've learned that the next stage of my life in terms of wanting to marry someone and start a life with that person, I have to be 100% in. I'm not about possibly, if I'm messing around and I know this ain't going anywhere, then I'm not going to call myself, I'm not going to say I'm in a relationship with you. No, we're just here having fun. That's it. That's the honest truth. We're just passing time.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I want to be 100% in with someone. So if that's where I'm at right now, which I feel a lot of people are in the world, they want to get to that stage. I can't just allow anyone to just come in and make me feel a certain kind of way. Like, if I'm like, well, it's cool. Like, if I don't speak to you, I'm not losing sleep over it. That's a very, very...
It's not the energy you align yourself to.
Exactly that.
Everyone is very... And it's because life is made them this way, but everyone is very task and goal focused. It's better in relationships. And especially on fucking these dating apps. I keep fucking dating apps. But it's like, find someone to talk to 4 people, become exclusive, become official, then have a few years, get married, kids. That's all very, very, very task and goal orientated. And it's the same with so many parts of people's lives. But if the energies aren't matching, then there's no point to any of it.
No.
To everything, it's a waste of all the parties involved time.
Like, you could meet the perfect person, literally on all fronts, and it could be a challenge where it doesn't materialize the way you want it to materialize, purely on the back end of the fact that your timelines are out of sync. Yeah. What you want in the next year versus what they want in the next year isn't going to work. So it's a case of, if you're not willing to meet in the middle, you're going to have a problem. And so, like...
Compromise, almost.
Compromise to an extent where you both want to.
Yeah.
No, it's not one person just going all in. Right?
Yeah.
I'm of the individuality where I'd love to travel and possibly live abroad for a bit. This was a couple of years ago. I said that I want to live abroad and see what life would be like in America or Dubai or something like that, just to experience it. But now, as I'm venturing down the entrepreneurial journey, I don't know what that means. Do I want to spend 6 months somewhere and then come back? Or if I am looking to settle down, like, where's the best place for me to do that? And I need someone who thinks similarly to me. Doesn't need to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
but supportive of the cause of like, okay, cool. Well, we'll make this work. The minute someone says that to me, we'll make it work. Don't worry. Don't you dare worry. We're making this work. I have someone who's got my back. Yo, gang.
100%. And I hope you realise you're only going to get that if you offer the same, though.
Exactly. And I've realised how much I offer. This is where it really comes down to. This is what my coaching said to me. She was like to me, Pri, you can tell me this girl is perfect in so many different degrees. If that person quits on you, that person gives up on you, she's not the right person for you because you're never going to give up on them.
I know.
You're always going to try and find a way of making it work. That's the kind of person you are. Even with your friendships, there might be a dick. I'm never going to not be your friend, but I might distance myself, but the friendship's still there to some degree. In a relationship capacity, the kind of person I am is that, look, things might be difficult as fuck, but a bit like yourself, I'm going to go see a therapist because I don't want this to just disintegrate.
I know. You're willing to put that work in.
I'm not desperate for love. I don't want this to... I didn't walk into this half-heartedly.
Will there be a point where, and I know this is purely a hypothetical, but a point where you think, like, the work's not worth it? Like, if she says you're always putting in this work, but say your partner decides to leave or call it a day, you've said you carry on doing that work. Would it... Because there has to be a point where you think...
Well, this happened with my ex, right? It was a case of... one thing she said was, I don't want you to change for me. And at that point in life, maybe she didn't see it the way I saw it, was I'm not changing for you. Obviously, if I'm making you upset right now, I don't necessarily want to continue making you upset. But for the relationship, for me and for you, I want us to both be happy. Now, I had a lot of self-worth things I had to work on anyway, so I wasn't helping the situation. But naturally, when I said I'm going to change my ways, I'm not changing for you, I'm improving. And some people just don't understand that.
Yeah.
Now, if a girl still says to me, yeah, nah, it's not going to work out, that's fine. I tried. I'm not walking away from this. If you want to walk out on me, that's entirely up to you. That's just a lesson I've got to learn. And that's something. It's a bit like an ACA exam. I tried my hardest. I put my heart out there.
Leave it all on the floor.
Left it all out on the line. And if it didn't work out, it's God's plan.
Yeah.
Drake says it best. You know, got to throw in that reference.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that. Don't ruin the show. We've been having so much fun. Don't do it. Why do you want to start a fight?
But yeah, here's what it is, man. It's a bit like the shirt. I'm a big advocate of Pokemon. We didn't get to talk a lot about anime today, but like...
Bro, you're lucky because I would have shut up.
I know.
Swear to God.
I know. It's like, always wanted to, like, the first two lyrics of the song, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. It's who I am definitely in regards to every shape, form, or capacity.
I'm telling people, fucking watch anime. Like, you people watch Game of Thrones that has no storyline, I love Game of Thrones, doesn't inspire you to be anything good. Go watch fucking One Piece. I tell you, you go out there, you'll be the best friend to all of your friends. I'm telling you. Go watch Steven Universe. Everyone who hasn't watched Steven Universe, go watch Steven Universe. I swear to God. It's a kid for... It's a show on Cartoon Network, and it's got incredible songs, and the graphics are incredible, and the story's incredible, and it's all about acceptance of everyone around you and putting it up. Go watch that and get your kids to watch it.
Bro, it's mad because... I was telling my boys that I wanted to speak with you today about some of the why I'm so into Pokemon, and they're like, bro, you're such an idiot, but what's wrong with you, kind of thing. And I was like, bro, honestly, it resonates so much. If I look at like some of my relationships I got with my friends, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm actually your Pikachu, or the other way around. We're best friends for a reason.
There we go. You put in the fucking work. It's beautiful to see, like, stuff you don't want to search for. People don't like it because it's animated and stuff, and because obviously we watched it when we were kids. But that's when you're building all the biggest, like, all your morality, all your personality traits and stuff. You want to watch stuff that makes you a good person. And I feel anime does that, man. And it's just sick. And they have, like, magic powers and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
It's just all that spiritual shit.
Fucking stuff.
But, I've always wanted to try and, staying in tune with, like, relationships, I've always wanted to try and just be my utmost best. I'd never want to make anyone else feel sad. And before it was a case of, because I never backed myself and never put myself first, I do it entirely. So if I don't feel like the relationship is going to serve me, I will possibly step away. But I never will walk into... So why I've been single for so long and not actually cuff myself down, because if I feel something might be off, I still need to get to know you to make sure I'm 100% content that I'm all in.
Of course, but it's almost risky.
But do you see how bad it is? People don't realise that. They just jump in.
That's because they're pushing it to a no time. They're trying to rush it. They've set themselves these goals in their head that they have to meet, otherwise so-and-so is going to judge them, or traditional pressures or cultural pressures and all that shit. everything's with context, man. Like, everything's with fucking context. Like, the reason they're jumping in is because they've gone through something different and they've got all these fucking forces that, thankfully, we don't experience. We don't have pushing down on us. The reason you're able to step back a bit, review it from a bigger bubble, is because of how you've brought up, because the work you've done on yourself and the time you've allowed yourself. If people, and I'm not saying that works for everyone, but it's got to fucking help.
It's one of them ones, bro. But how have you enjoyed yourself today?
I've loved it. I feel like we have done good talks. I've loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, you want to come through again.
If the people like it, if the people want me back, because genuinely I thought I was going to be a bit nervous, a bit crap, and again, I don't feel like I've got too much to plug about myself, but I loved it, man. Thank you for having me.
No worries, bro.
Good chat. Always good chat.
Come on, let's go.
How many other guests you got doing that?
Bro, I've got no one in life doing that now, bro. Come on, bro.
Go.
But nah, love for coming through. I'm going to plug in your Insta handle anyway, just in case if someone wants to get in touch with you in regards to your therapist journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Flipping out.
He's not out there for everyone, but if you drop him a message, maybe he might be like, these are the people to speak to. But yeah, love Habibi. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again for listening. It's been your boy Uncle Pre. It's always a pleasure to be in the studio and record with my guests. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like stuff like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. It helps me take the podcast to a place where I can definitely bring in more people that are going to resonate with you, whether it's their stories, whether it's their journey, whether it's just something that they're going through right now. So definitely like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, much appreciated you staying in here. I love everyone that comes through, and I love all the comments and feedback that I get, so keep that coming through. And yeah, it's been your boy Uncle Pre, and I'm signing out. Peace.